A new client should feel like revenue, not chaos. But one missed form, one lost email, and one delayed kickoff can turn a clean handoff into hours of repair work. Status checks, apology messages, and preventable admin that quietly eats margin. You close the deal, then the real mess starts. Client details sit in email, files live in the wrong folder, and nobody knows whether the welcome packet, contract, or kickoff link has actually been sent. By day 3, 3 people may check the same task and still miss it. The fix is not another app first. The fix is one source of truth. Google Sheets becomes the operating table where every onboarding record enters, moves through stages, and triggers the next action. In practice, that means one row can answer 5 questions in under 10 seconds. When onboarding is manual, every client adds hidden labor. 10 clients can mean 10 slightly different processes, which creates mistakes, slow starts, and a weak first impression right when trust should be growing. Even a 15-minute delay per client becomes 2.5 hours fast. Your sheet needs to answer 4 questions at all times. Who the client is, what stage they are in, what is blocked, and who owns the next move. If any one answer is missing, follow-up slows, decisions drift, and accountability gets fuzzy. Before you touch formulas, map the onboarding path on paper. Signed client, intake received, assets collected, kickoff booked, setup complete, onboarding finished. Those stages become the backbone of the sheet and every automation after it. If the path takes 6 stages, do not build 12 just in case. Create one tab called Clients. Each row is one client. Each column stores a field you may need later. Client ID, company name, contact, offer, start date, owner, stage, next action, and timestamps. Add links to, like folder URL, contract URL, or kickoff booking reference. A strong first version uses a small set of fields. Keep it lean enough to maintain, but complete enough to drive actions across the full workflow. The test is simple. Each field should support a decision, trigger, filter, or handoff. Use a unique client ID even if you are a team of 1. Names change, contacts change, companies rebrand. A stable ID keeps forms, folders, invoices, and tasks linked to the same record over time. For example, CL 1047 stays consistent even when Acme becomes Acme North America. Do not let form responses dump straight into your main operating table. Keep a raw intake tab for untouched submissions, then use automation or formulas to create clean records in the Clients tab. That separation protects against bad formatting, partial answers, and accidental edits later. This split matters because raw data is messy and operational data must be dependable. One tab captures everything. The other runs the business. Think of one as an evidence log and the other as the live command board. Use Google Forms for intake if clients need to provide details after signing. Ask for company name, main contact, billing email, website, goals, access needs, and any files required to begin work. If access is needed, ask exactly which tools, ads, analytics, search console, or CRM. Use a controlled stage list with data validation inside the sheet. If one row says waiting for docs and another says docs pending, your filters break and your reporting stops making sense. Standard labels sound boring, but boring is exactly what reliable operations need. Standard fields beat clever fields. A predictable drop-down and a plain date column outperform custom labels almost every time. Once a client record lands in the Clients tab with stage set to signed, you can trigger an automated welcome email. That message confirms next steps, shares the intake form, and sets expectations right away. A good version also names the owner and promises a response window, like 24 hours. Your automation should check conditions before sending anything. Send the welcome email only if the client email exists, the stage equals signed, and the welcome sent timestamp is still blank. Add one more guard too. Skip sends for test rows or internal training entries. A single timestamp field can prevent repeated emails, duplicate tasks, and confused handoffs across your process. One cell recording sent at 10:42 a.m. can stop 3 people from repeating the same step. Next, create a drive folder automatically using the client name and ID. Store proposals, briefs, assets, deliverables, and meeting notes there. Then write the folder link back into the sheet so the record stays complete. A standard naming pattern like CL 1047_Acme prevents messy duplicate folders later. Even in a small business, every onboarding record needs one owner. That person is accountable for the next action. Without a named owner, tasks sit in the system and nobody feels the delay. Shared responsibility sounds collaborative, but in execution it often means no responsibility at all. When intake is complete, move the stage to ready for kickoff. That change can send a scheduling link, create an internal prep task, and update the next action field to waiting for meeting date. If the meeting books, write back the date, time, and calendar URL automatically. Good onboarding systems do not rely on memory. They rely on visible states and clear triggers. If the process depends on someone remembering Friday afternoon, the process is already weak. Create filtered views for each team need. New signed clients, waiting on intake, ready for kickoff, blocked items, and completed onboarding. The master table stays whole, but each person sees the slice that matters. Sales may need one view, delivery another, and finance a third for billing setup. Do not hide delays inside notes. Add a blocker field with values like waiting on client, waiting on team, missing access, or payment issue. Once blockers are visible, follow-up becomes scheduled work instead of detective work. You can even sort by blocker type and clear the top 2 causes weekly. Formulas are best for derived information inside the sheet. Think days since signed, overdue flags, completion percentages, or a clean client label. Use automation tools for actions outside the sheet like emails and folder creation. A formula should explain the record, not try to run your whole business. This is the dividing line that keeps the system stable. If the sheet needs to calculate, use formulas. If the system needs to notify, create, assign, or update another tool, use automation. That boundary reduces brittleness, especially once 5 tools and 2 teammates touch the same workflow. The moment a team stops asking, "What is the status of this client?" the spreadsheet has started doing real operational work. That is the signal that visibility has replaced interruptions, pings, and hallway-style update requests. Here is one of the biggest failure points. If the same client submits the form twice or a teammate adds a row by hand, you can end up firing duplicate automations. Use the client ID and email as a duplicate check. Counterexample: even matching names can fail when one row says Bob and another says Robert. Most broken onboarding systems do not fail because they automate too little. They fail because they automate too many edge cases too early. Start with the main path first, then add exceptions after the process proves stable. In many teams, 3 solid automations outperform 12 fragile ones within the first month. If you create 10 branches for rare cases, your team stops trusting the system. They work around it, data drifts, and the sheet turns into another place to update instead of the place that runs the workflow. The hidden cost is not complexity alone, but the behavior complexity creates. You can launch a dependable version with 5 essentials. 1 client table, 1 intake form, 1 stage list, 3 to 5 automations, and 1 weekly review. That is enough structure to control the main path without drowning in setup work. First, design the process before the tool. If the stages are unclear, the automation will only move confusion faster. Your sheet should reflect a real operational path, not a guess. Draw the handoffs first, then decide which columns and triggers actually matter. Second, keep one source of truth and push updates back into it. If an email sends, write the timestamp. If a folder gets created, write the link. If the kickoff is booked, write the date. A system that only sends outward, but never writes back, goes stale quickly. Third, review exceptions every week. Look for blocked clients, stale stages, missing owners, and duplicate records. A 15-minute review protects the system far better than adding another complex automation branch. In most small teams, that weekly habit catches the majority of preventable failures. If you want a first version this week, build these pieces in order and stop there until the workflow starts producing reliable outcomes. Resist the urge to add custom scoring, branching, or dashboards before the basics stay accurate for 30 days. At that point, onboarding stops being a memory test. Google Sheets becomes a live control center that tells you what happened, what needs attention, and what the client experiences next without constant manual chasing. Not glamorous, but very profitable because consistency is what clients actually feel first. Build once. Run often. Keep the sheet honest. Keep the triggers clean.